Today I'm going to talk to you about computational thinking. We will discuss what it is, why it is important, how to implement it in the classroom, and look at some of the standards that relate to it. Computational thinking involves much more than just technology. It is a way of processing information. Computational thinking is a basic problem-solving process which can be applied to any discipline, whether that be math, science, or the humanities. Computational thinking ultimately needs to be a fundamental part of the way people think and understand the world. There are many reasons why computational thinking is important, especially for students. Students who become proficient in computational thinking begin to be more precise and persistent, have confidence in dealing with complex problems, base their decisions on data, use a systematic way of thinking to recognize patterns and trends, and break down larger problems into smaller pieces that can be solved easier. There are many ways to incorporate computational thinking within the classroom. These are just a few suggestions. You can immerse students in the problem-solving process, which can be done on an individual or group level. You can also teach students how to break down problems into their smaller components. They can then apply this idea to larger and more complex tasks. Providing students with opportunities to explore different solutions is a great way to help students use computational thinking. Finally, having students apply their computational thinking skills in various subjects is beneficial. Concepts of computational thinking can be seen within the ISTE standards for teachers and students. First, we'll look at the standards for teachers. Computational thinking involves thinking critically and creatively. As teachers, you need to make sure that you are facilitating that type of thinking within your students. The first ISTE standard for teachers hits on just that. Computational thinking and technology often go hand in hand, so you need to make sure that you can correctly model effective use of technology for your students. The third ISTE standard for teachers touches on this point. Concepts of computational thinking can also be seen in the ISTE standards for students. Students should be able to analyze and evaluate information as well as apply that information to different situations and tasks. This can be seen in the third ISTE standard for students. As we discussed with the teacher standards, it is important for students to think creatively and critically. This type of thinking ultimately helps students to solve problems and make decisions. This is shown in the fourth ISTE standard for students. I've selected a few of the South Carolina computer science and digital literacy standards from 2nd and 6th grade. In 2nd grade, students should be able to classify computing devices based on their purpose, as well as use software on different computing devices. One way to cover these standards in the classroom is to provide students with access to various types of technology whenever possible. Students are more likely to understand and remember the purpose of different devices if they are able to use these devices. They are also able to recognize the software that controls the devices if they have experience with it. Within a 2nd grade class, these standards would be addressed at a very general and basic level. In a 6th grade class, the standards address more complex tasks at a higher level. Students should be able to describe the key components of devices. Allowing students to access technology is the best way for students to understand how devices operate. Students should also know how to use technology to solve problems. For this standard, it would be beneficial to have students work on their problem-solving skills and then incorporate technology. As teachers, you need to provide students with as many opportunities as possible to solve relevant problems and use technology in the classroom. I hope that this presentation has helped you to develop a better understanding of what computational thinking is, why it is so important for students to learn, and how to incorporate it in your classroom.